Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
So I was driving earlier today and a song came on. Never heard the song before. It's not a hugely popular song. It's more about what the title was and is. I don't even have to tell you the artist. I was fixated on the title of his song. It's called Step Into Your Power. Step Into Your Power. Artist is Ray LaMontagne. He's sort of a avant-garde, progressive rock kind of guy. Yeah, a little jazzy, whatever. Step into your power. It's almost as if the universe was saying, hello, hello, where is your power? If you don't know the source of your power or you can't connect with your power, something's a little off. Something's going on there. Usually it comes down to energy, and usually energy needs to be cleared out if something is blocking you from really using your power to your best advantage, having a great life, thriving, abundance, and all of that. That starts with energy clearing. And this woman, she is a certified Reiki practitioner, also works with the chakras to cleanse those and clear out that stuck energy. We're going to learn more about that today. PLY Healing is her business, and she is Linzi Schreiner. She's back with us. How you doing?
Hi, good. Thanks for having me back, Steve. Missed you.
Missed you too. I'm glad we got this all together today, and we are together. And when we talk about the power, do you believe that when something is off in our energy field, and we'll get to some of the reasons why, that we really can't get what we want in life? We really can't move forward in life.
I think you can. I just think it is much more effort focused and you'll be depleted. And maybe by the time you get there, it doesn't feel the way it would have if you would have been doing it in an aligned way. Because I do think we can push through. I just think it has a cost.
Totally got you on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You may arrive at your destination, whatever your destination is, but when you rather arrive refreshed, feeling great, like I did it, I'm feeling good. This is whatever it is, other or feeling just depleted, like you're barely making it over the finish line.
Yeah, I can relate to that a lot. I think I pushed a lot in the early stages of my business. And when I finally got to the space of, I think, what others would view as success, I had to take a hard look around and just say, is this it? Is this success? Because this doesn't feel the way I thought it would. And that's what led me to PLY healing versus peace, love, and yoga, which is where the journey started for the
Gotcha.
business.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right. Just a recap on that. You were more focused on the yoga side of things.
I was. Yeah, I ran a yoga
Hmm.
studio. And yoga was the introductory for me, I think, in spiritual world. It's what hooked me. I love yoga, still love yoga, do it every day. And teaching was wonderful. I thought I wanted to run a yoga studio, and I did that in Tonganoxie, where I'm from, or where I live, not where I'm from. And it was beautiful. I loved the community. I loved watching healing happen real time. And by the time I got to the point where I felt like it was financially successful, I was drained and had to take a step back and look at what I'd created. And I pushed a lot through that instead of attracting and receiving.
Oh, that's
And
a
I
good
think it
one.
was, yeah, yeah,
Let's talk about that.
sure.
Um, Attracting things to you.
Mhm.
It's all about energy, right? How do
Mhm.
you get to that point where you are? Is it just you're raising your vibration, your energy level?
How do you get to the point where you're attracting? I think you stop focusing on the outside world and you're focusing on your internal world, which is what healing is. It brings us back to ourselves. And when you are thinking through, how does this conversation feel for me? Even the conversation we're having right now, the fact that I'm on a podcast that's worldwide, how does it feel to me to be in that container? Does
Hmm.
it feel good? Am I excited? Am I apprehensive? Is there a piece of me deep down that doesn't feel good in this environment? And the way it's hard, I believe, to recognize that, and I will state that that is a hard thing. To how am I feeling about this in the moment? Because the world doesn't really pitch that for us. It doesn't create that container for us. It's something we have to be diligent about and understanding. But if you're someone that's new and you want to realize, am I in aligned action right now? Is this the best for me? Notice how you feel afterwards. If it's with a friend, if it's in a work environment, put it in any situation. Notice how you feel when you're going into it, and notice how you feel when you're done. If you feel full, if you feel vibrant, chances are it's good for you. If you feel depleted, tired,
Mm.
may not be what's for you. And I think it's bringing an awareness to that that will help you get to the point where you begin to attract, because when we end up in a situation where we're being authentic to who we are, authentic to what we're designed for, that's when things start coming towards us, where you think of a song on a radio and then boom, it's on all of a sudden. You're thinking about a friend and you walk into a nail salon. This happened to me last Friday. I was in
Mm.
a zone. I was walking into a nail salon thinking about a friend, and guess who was sitting there as I was leaving to get her nails done? This friend.
Wow.
So I believe in the law of attraction, and we can push and get what we want. But when we are in aligned action, when we are noticing how we feel and we are taking care of ourselves, that's when things will come to you.
Would you say they come to you also because you're not stressing? You're just living life. You're just moving forward. You don't have all
You're in
this.
the flow.
You're in the flow. Yeah. And it's
Yes.
funny you should say that because I shared this with a friend yesterday. We're just having like a little deeper conversation. And I'm realizing as I get older, most of the things that my mom said, they're true. But when I was younger, in my 20s, and she would say something, one of those cliches or whatever, in my mind, with respect, in my mind, I'm sure my kids do it to me in their
Oh,
mind.
yeah.
Like, shut up, you're old. It's just
Right.
like, what do you know? What do you know? You have stupid cliches, whatever. She always used to say, just go with the flow. Just go with the flow. And I'm like, oh, 20, what does that mean? Now I internalize it as the flow of life, like you just said. And if you fight the flow, you're going in the same direction anyway. The river's still taking you in the same direction. You're going to grab a rock. You're going to grab a branch in the river because I don't want to go that way. I don't want to go that. You're going that way. You're just going to take the longer route to get there, i.e., now you're going to learn another lesson. The destination is still the same. Go with the flow. That's how I interpret it. And a bunch of other things she used to say. It'll all work out. It actually does. Usually.
It actually does. And
Does.
I love that analogy. It's something that I use in meditation or just in sessions in general. When you're thinking about resistance, it is walking against the current. How hard is that? Think about when you've been in a lazy river and you've walked against that current of water. It gets harder with each step.
Yeah.
But what happens when you let go? You
Magical.
float.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Yeah,
how about the inner tube? On the
right.
lazy river at an amusement park, a hotel, or whatever, and you just get in the tube, you float on your back, and you're like, oh, this is great. I'm just going. I'm going. You sort of know where you're going, but sometimes you don't know. Maybe it's a big park and you know what's the end, but you're going with the flow. It feels good. You're enjoying
It
it.
feels good. And I think all of us have had moments of being in the flow, and we've all had moments of resisting and pushing, and we know what that feels like. Maybe not in the front of your mind, but as even you or I talking, I'm assuming that someone is sitting back going, "Oh yeah, I actually have experienced that."
Hmm.
But the reason that you have resistance, the reason that you're choosing to walk against the current is most likely because you have energetic blocks. You're not doing those things intentionally to make your life harder. They're learned behaviors that you've picked up through your lifetime. And it's something that your brain is telling you, you need to do this to keep you safe. And so what
Hmm.
Reiki is and what it does, let's recap. It's an energy that is love and it's unconditional, and its purpose to support you emotionally, physically, and spiritually. And it helps you bring to the surface things that you need to work on, maybe things that have kept you stuck or created what we call energy blocks in the chakra centers. And each one, there's seven, they tie back to different areas of the body. But each one may have a different area where you're stuck or where you have a block or where you have harder trauma that you need to revisit so that that cycle that's spinning around that's keeping you safe and causing resistance can stop. We can look at it, we can acknowledge it, and then you begin to recognize, oh, wait, I don't really need to resist this. This is an old part of me that's trying to keep me safe. It's no longer valid. Thank you. I'm going to try this a different way. And we create new neural pathways, and then that resistance dissolves.
Interesting. So there are many modalities to recognize why we put up those blocks. Could be hypnotherapy. I've done that before. Lots of other stuff. Lindsay, are you saying that you could have a Reiki session and that could energetically release the block, just like other modalities do, to allow you to, be in the flow.
Yes.
Wow.
Reiki can work with the energetic blocks that are there. One, it's knowing that it's there, bringing an awareness to it. Did you know that you potentially have a block in this area? And it will work to release that. But that takes partnership with you when you're ready and the timing that is best for you. And so some blocks could be caused by the food we eat, could be caused from the radio we listen to, could be caused from the TV shows that we're watching. And those blocks are going to easily shift out where maybe you experienced trauma as a child and it's living in your solar plexus, tying it back to the power aspect you spoke to earlier that lives in our solar plexus. And our inner child is the one that drives that show. Am I powerful and capable? Well, we learn that when we're young. And so if we're struggling with power, if we're struggling with feeling capable, most likely there's a part of you when you were much younger that learned that you are not capable. And so getting to the point where that memory can come to the surface,
Mm.
it might take a little time.
When you work with somebody and identify within different chakras, which we're going to get to in a moment, that something is off or something is stuck, how much clarity do you get from that? What can you tell somebody just by, pick any chakra, whatever it might be?
Yeah. So the root, let's go there. The root, am I safe? Do I belong? Can I trust?
Mm.
That's one a lot of us struggle with, especially in the financial world, with the economy the way it is right now. A lot of folks are feeling very ungrounded and unsafe because of the financial situations.
Sure.
And when we feel unsafe, when we don't feel grounded, there's really not a lot of energetic work that can happen from there because it all goes up. And so, typically speaking, if I'm working with someone new, that is one of the areas that we will really focus on first. Me understanding how do they feel safe within their bodies? And from an energetic perspective, are we working with any energetic blocks here? And sometimes that's easily cleared, and sometimes that takes a little bit more time. But ultimately, the pace in which the healing happens is up to the client and what they click into, because this is an internal journey. My job is to facilitate and offer the energy. The work happens within you. And so sometimes I don't know that that work is done, but within them, they do. It just depends on the client and how much they're willing to share.
Would it be impactful now to just briefly go over the, I guess, seven major chakras?
Absolutely. So, as you stated, there are seven. There's the root, which resides right around our tailbone area. And again, that's are you safe? You belong.
Mm.
The sacral, it's right above that, about 2 inches below the belly button. And this is a place of worthiness, joy, pleasure, creativity happens there. The solar plexus is right above that. So we've got the belly button, and then about 2 inches above that, right around where your rib cage meets, that's where the solar plexus lives. And that's where our inner child is. And that's where our power center, our confidence lives. And then we have our heart, which is our ability to love and have compassion and self judgment. That's what lives in the heart space. The throat, right where you would imagine, it's in the throat area. And a lot of people struggle with throat, especially women. But this is where our voice is, our ability to speak our truth. But it also controls our hearing. And I don't think
Mm.
that's correlated a lot. But so if we are not speaking our truth, we're probably not hearing others' truths either. And we kind of get stuck in our own world. And then if you rise up, we've got this space right between the eyebrows, and that's our third eye. And so that's where intuition lives, that's where our wisdom lives. And if you go right above your head, that is our crown. And this is our area of connection and of trusting that there's something bigger than us out there.
Hmm. I have a theory in a situation involving my throat chakra, and I would love to share it with you and get your feedback
Yeah.
because it's all these pieces are just too coincidental. I don't believe there are any. So back in October, kind of weird virus, never get sick. I haven't been sick in like half my life. And I had a fever. It wasn't COVID. It wasn't a flu. It gave me acute laryngitis. I've never
Mm.
had that in all years of broadcasting. Never had it. Scratchy throat. You get a cold every once in a while. Right after that, I developed skin cancer, and I've had it over years. But this was an elevated level. Came out of nowhere. I really believe it came. It was exacerbated from the virus. Where do you think the skin cancer showed up?
On your throat?
Correct. On my neck. Since
Hmm.
cured, no problem. Had surgery. But here's the weird thing. My mom, who passed 6 years ago, a few years before she passed, and she passed of natural causes, wasn't from this. She had skin cancer that developed the same type. Where do you think it was?
Same place.
Same place, other side of the neck. So for me,
Which
I
side of
believe
the neck was it on, Steve?
for me it was on my left side. For her, it was on her right side.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I just think it's too coincidental, even so close in time, and call it lineage. I believe there are some things where she didn't speak her mind, and I believe there are some things where I didn't or don't. And, that was a wake up call, but it's too coincidental that it all was in the same area. Could have been anywhere. I don't know if there's a correlation, but for me, I just, there's something with the throat chakra, I believe.
I would agree. And here's the other fascinating part of that. For her, it was on the right side, and for you, it was on the left.
Yeah.
We all, if you split us down the middle, so there's the seven energy centers, we also have feminine energy and masculine energy, all of us.
Mm-hmm.
The right side of our body is masculine energy, and the left side of our body is feminine energy. And when we overfunction in one way or the other, it can look a certain way in any person. For overfunctioning in male energy, it looks like I'm dominating, I am task oriented, I am action oriented, I go, 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 go. And on the left side, on the feminine energy, it's more nourishing and loving, taking care of yourself, taking care of others. And when we have an imbalance in one of those energy centers, we can overfunction in the opposite way. Now, when we're talking about the throat, we're talking about our ability to speak our truth and to hear others clearly. And when we don't speak our truth, so when you feel the urge to say something, but you choose not to for whatever reason, that can cause a block.
Mm-hmm.
And especially if it's around a particular topic that maybe comes up again and again, and you don't feel like you can speak to it for whatever reason, could be for good intentions. Like, I just don't want to hurt someone's feelings. But that's harmful for us because we're not speaking up. And with skin cancer populating for both of you, one on the left side, one on the right side, it makes me wonder if she had a wound in the right side of her energy. Maybe she was over functioning in masculine energy. I'm sure there's a lot we could unpack with that if we needed to.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe for you, maybe you're having a blocker issues in the feminine energy. Maybe you need to take better care of yourself.
100%. Like, yes. And yes to that. I am
Did you bite your tongue with her?
how do you mean?
Were you holding yourself back from speaking truth to your mom?
No, no,
No.
we're good. Yeah. As a matter of fact, not getting into it, but I've shared this a lot. I still get signs from her, and they're
Yeah.
very specific. I could fill 15 podcasts with them.
Yeah.
And, if a butterfly going by, a penny, heads up, supports you, great. I need more. And I get very specific signs. I feel she's still around. And so I know where you're going with that, but I don't believe there was things unsaid. But in her life, there were a couple of things that she didn't speak her truth on or speak her mind, and they were very hurtful at the hands of others. And me, I don't take care of myself. I do now. I'm an empath. I'm the guy that calls everybody else out. I'm like, you're an empath. Do you realize that? Until I took a test, strength assessment test, and number two for me is empath. Number one is communication. I had no idea. So, you
Yeah.
know, I don't want to make it about me. I just wanted to share that because I'm convinced, the example of where energy can get stuck and cause or lead to challenges, maybe health challenges,
Yes. And that's one
right?
of the last stages of an energy block. It starts
Mm.
out in an emotional field and then it can work its way into a physical ailment if we don't address those blocks.
Is there anything else that you can share with a few minutes left here about Reiki, about this healing?
Yes. So I think I should take a step back because we started off just assuming everyone knew what Reiki was, and maybe we don't. We talked last time about it being love energy, but Reiki is an ancient tool that comes back from Japanese heritage and culture. And you have to be trained and attuned to this in order for it to work. Um, but with that, you can utilize Reiki by hands-on. So I can place my hands on you and work with Reiki energy, or through distance. We touched on this a little bit in the last podcast. It can be shared through distance, but it does need to be with a licensed practitioner who has been trained and attuned for this energy.
Yep.
And I just want to state that if the idea of love and healing speaks to you, if you're craving a kind of gentle soul level support, my one on one Reiki infused sessions are a space where you can work with yourself and your story and your heart, and you don't have to do it alone. This is work we can do on our own through spiritual healing. However, having someone in your corner that is trained, it can do wonders. And it is amazing the healing that can happen just by saying yes to Reiki energy healing.
It works. And I've had it done before we met. I've seen the benefits of it. And I haven't had it done since the throat chakra suspicion is going on there. But I do believe that would clear it out. There's something there. 100%. The things that hold us back is usually stuck energy.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's usually stuck energy. And maybe next time we jump into being an empath and how we can protect our own energy. Because when
Oh
we're
boy.
empaths, if we're not protecting ourselves, we can leak out, and that can cause energetic blocks as well.
I would love to, and especially those in the emergency field, doctors, nurses, many of them are empaths. I know somebody that takes every third day off as a nurse because she's drained. I can't. I don't know what it is. You're an empath. You're probably not protecting your energy, as you just said, Lindsay.
Yeah,
Right? Mm.
it's a powerful thing.
Yeah, more than I think many of us realize. How do we find you?
You can find me at www.plyhealing.com. Contact us section, and we will respond to you and get you scheduled.
Yeah. This is life changing. It's been around for many, many years. We're still talking about it. Firsthand, I can tell you it works. It is, you get clarity, you feel better, you feel lighter once you clear out that energy. Great having you on here today.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. Look forward to seeing you next time.
Same. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.